Hi guys! Today I'm going to be showing you how easy it is to make this super pretty dried flower hanging frame. So gather your flowers and let's get started. All the flowers I used for my frame came from this bouquet I bought, so feel free to buy a pre-made arrangement that has the flowers and colors you like, or you can just walk around and pick your own flowers. To begin, you'll want to put your flowers in a vase for about 24 hours just to revitalize them and make sure they're in a healthy state before you dry them. Cut the stems of your flowers at a slant under running water and place them into your vase. It's nice because you can display them somewhere for a day and really get the most out of them. The next day is when I pressed my flowers. I started out by choosing the specific flowers I wanted to use. So for the roses in my bouquet, I only wanted to use their petals, so I plucked them off and made sure to throw away any browned ones. As for the other flowers, all I did was cut their stems short and removed any leaves or brown petals that I wouldn't want to preserve. After they're dried, you can definitely still cut and remove petals and leaves you don't want. So it's okay if you change your mind on the length of the stem when you're putting the frame together later on. I'm going to be pressing these flowers in books, so I cut parchment paper to the size of the book's pages to lay the petals and flowers on. I laid out the rose petals on the first piece of parchment paper, arranging them so they wouldn't overlap. The parchment paper will soak moisture from the petals while at the same time preventing your book from getting dirty. I just chose a spot in the middle of my book to place the petals. When you're shutting the book, try to do it slowly and check to see if the petals are for the most part laying flat and not creasing anywhere. As for the flowers, it's the same exact process. I cut 2 pieces of parchment paper the size of my book and arranged them to fit. If you want the flowers to flatten a certain way, try to squish them down a bit before closing the book to ensure they'll remain in the same position and shape you want. Give your books a nice little manual press and then stack more weights on top of them. They can be other books, of course, but anything works. Leave them somewhere where they'll be undisturbed for 2 weeks. This is my little flower pressing tower. Now I'm showing you a different way you can dry flowers, which is even easier. All you need to do is tie the flowers together and then find a place to hang them. Hanging them in a shadier area of your house is better so the flowers don't lose their color. This method produces slightly different results than pressing them, so it's nice to have a variety of flowers to choose from when it's time to arrange the frame. This is the frame that I'm using, but most kinds would work. Even the simple ones that sit on tables and stuff are totally fine. You can now finally reveal your flowers and see how they look flattened. If you find that they're not dry but rather a little moist still, I would recommend you change one or both of the pieces of the parchment paper they were in and continue to press them for a few more days. Or else they could get soggy and brown in the frame, and you definitely don't want a moldy frame. This is the part where I don't have much direction to give you. You can arrange your flowers and petals in any way you please. You can go for a more abstract, random placements like I did, or a pattern. I've seen ones where it looks like the flowers are growing from the bottom of the frame, which I think looked super cute. But really, anything goes. As for me, I thought it'd be pretty to arrange the petals into flower shapes again, and with the rest I just placed everything where I thought it looked the most aesthetically pleasing. Like I said earlier, you can cut stems or rip off petals depending on the look you want for the flower. I removed the stems almost entirely and I cut some flowers in half to make them into two. Here I'm cutting the flowers that were hung to dry. As you can see, the results are super different from the pressed flowers. The dark magenta flower I'm placing on the frame right now is actually the same exact flower that I cut in half just moments before. Close the frame to see how you like it, but don't pick it up just yet or the flowers are going to fall out of place. And last but not least, since your flowers have been pressed, there will likely be pieces that are thinner than others, which means you need to glue them together or tape them separately to the back of the frame. My flowers dried thicker than my petals, so all I did was secure the petals together with glue and tape. My flowers were able to be held by the frame alone when I closed it. So I just started with clear glue and I glued my petals together as well as the tiny purple flowers so they would stay in the shape I put them in. After gluing all my thin, loose pieces together, I then used double-sided tape and cut very tiny pieces to stick the glued petals and some flowers to the frame itself. I'll be hanging my frame against a wall so tape won't be noticeable anyway. This is what happened when I didn't glue or tape anything together, and it was probably like the most pathetic thing that I've ever done. But anyway, now you have your very own dried flower frame. I hope this helped. Thanks for watching.